Oh, hello everyone. Why do I have all these Thai constellations here? Because I'm gonna transfer all of them into Pawn or LECA, or I might propagate a couple. I see one that I might propagate and I didn't know it was at that stage. And you know me and the love of propagation. So I want to do this because I really ignore my plants that are living in aeroid mixes. I've done it a few times with this specimen specifically. All these came from essentially one mother plant and they've been fine. This specimen I bought in September 2019. So I think, and I might be wrong, but I think this is a stronger plant than the other ones that came after that. I don't know about like this current like rollout of like Thai constellations that you're seeing a lot more in garden centers, but I think that's why these have done fine with the transition. And so yeah, are y'all ready? I do have to say though, I'm not gonna do this one. I was like, I think I can like do a plant trade with this one because mama, she is rooted and I don't want to disturb her. This is one of my faster Thai constellation propagations. I already propagated her once before and she pushed out a couple of leaves, so I'm looking at the plant feeling established in where it is. Sometimes it's good. That's when you kind of see them take off and grow quicker. And that's why root health is so important. That was so corny. Oh my god, I'm gonna walk away. Ooh, I forgot to mention there's a couple that are in moss. You can see some roots at the bottom here. The goal was just to root it in moss, and then when I saw new root growth and I was supposed to transfer it, this one was the one I think in my neglect video. She's rooted, but like look at this, it's coming out. So definitely she's outgrown the deli container. But let's start off with the arid mix one. So I think I'm gonna chop this one. Am I gonna do it? I think I'm gonna do it. Cause like there's a spot where like I think it's a node, but I'm not completely sure. Like I think that's a node. It's tough because when you propagate a plant, which that's what happened here, it pushes out a growth out of the node. There's often like a gap between aerial roots. Like for example, she first pushed out an aerial root here, which ended up going to the arid mix, which is fine. And so I'm thinking that's a node, but it looks like very small. I think I'm gonna do it. The top bit of this plant has this aerial root, so perfect timing. I'm gonna make a chop probably here, and then we'll have a cutting with these beautiful leaves. So, oh god, my shears. Okay, hope this is the right decision. 3, 2, 1. Ow, I can't do it. Hold on. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh, so really close to the aerial root there. It fell in the soil, but it's a clean cut, as you can see. What an adorable plant. I might think it's gonna be pawn. I think it's gonna be a deli container. I just have my pawn here, and I'm just taking it in this deli container, everyone. I'm gonna put pawn. Okay, this looks hilarious. She's lying down. First of all, the root is like all the way at the bottom and I didn't want to push it because it's the only root. I didn't want to break it. So that's why I couldn't submerge more. I might tape it though because I'm afraid it's gonna like hit other plants. I'm just gonna put some tape just for the time being. This looks hilarious, but it'll do the job. Under grow light or probably against my my south-facing window. Oh, I forgot to put water. Make sure cuttings are like wet, guys. So even though the root is here, I'm keeping the water level high and we'll see under grow light. Okay, now looking at the mother plant. So that's where I cut over here. The node is over there and hopefully it pushes out new growth there. If not, I'm pretty sure there is another node lower in the plant. Once I take it out of the aeroid mix, I will show you. So first one, I just have this bin and I'm just gonna push on the edges, hopefully comes out clean. And also I kind of want to assess the roots. It's been quite a while, like a little over a year. Has it been? I have no idea. It's been more than a year actually that I had these in aeroid mixes and they grew. Speed of growth was all right. It's not the fastest. So I'm gonna see. I'm going to see.
Oh Lord. See, it's been tall.
This is kind of fun. I don't know. I haven't done this in a while. Look at these roots. Future Kevin zoom in. Look at these roots over here. So I'm gonna take close to all of the arid mix off these roots, and then, ooh, I'm gonna have to pick Pon or LECA. See, I always like doing this process when the arid mix is hydrated. I think that's my first tip. Do this when your plant is hydrated, and that's only because you'll find that if you have super dry roots and you get your hands in there to kind of separate the arid mix from the roots, there is a difference in how they feel. Oh, I also want to show you here. Future Kevin, zoom in. So you could see how dense this part is with, like, let's just say coco coir, and then you could see all the charcoal, pumice, bark all up in the top here. Obviously, I've said that it's been over a year that this plant has been in arid mix. You'll find that all the chunky components will float to the top after repeated waterings. Yeah, it's so dense down here. I don't know if y'all can see anything, but in my opinion, too dense for a Thai constellation. So going back to the roots, like, I can feel a huge difference between this really hydrated root here, and it's like super strong, super firm, and then just a root up here, like flimsy, a bit squishy, like there's a bit of give when you push it. I think it minimizes the shock factor when you have a hydrated root system. When you're transferring it into LECA or Pon, we all know that if you dry out roots too much, too fast, and then you hydrate them quickly, then that's when you get the rot. So I'm a little excited. It's been a while. Like, I haven't done a soil to LECA or Pon transition with my Thai constellation in, how long has it been? Years. I don't know how long specifically, but. Going back to when I actually did the transition of these Thai constellations, I remember specifically, I didn't have grow lights at the time. I only started growing plants under grow lights from 2021, but I strongly recommend them. But I had these plants up against the window. We were in the transition between spring and summer. I think that was enough light for it to be okay. But I strongly believe that the reason why your transitions fail from soil to Pon is because you don't give it enough light. Give these plants a lot of light, almost too much. Thai constellations and Monsteras in general, they don't necessarily need a lot of light, specifically with propagations, specifically with transfers to new substrate. It is recommended. Like, that is one of the biggest things in order for you to have success. I love also in the beginning when the whole LECA craze started that people were saying, oh yeah, your roots will, and like, I'm guilty of this too, so I'm very sorry, but people were saying the existing roots might shed and that's normal. Like, why didn't we just call it rot? They rotted, they died. Oh, there is another node. Damn, now it's like, should I chop it again? I don't know. I just want another Thai constellation army, everyone. And before y'all say that I have too many, listen here. I have grown this plant for years. This all came from essentially one plant, and this plant is strong. It is so strong. And so I kind of want to preserve the plant, you know, by propagating it, dividing it, and really just with the goal in the future to share with people, either through plant trades, maybe selling. I am doing a couple of plant trades with my patrons with this Thai, well, not this one specifically, but the Thai constellation, so that's very exciting. And yeah, so there's some roots that are falling off. They're just the branches. And that's okay. Just make sure that you're not breaking or taking away too much of the root system. I'm really hoping these survive. I am going to show you, like, for example, 3-month update, I guess in December at this point. Maybe I'll share my updates on Patreon. Like, I want all these to survive. I know it's totally a possibility that some of these might die completely. I don't want them to die, but I'm just curious. I did have, I don't know, this was maybe a beginning of 2021 when I was first experimenting with Pon, and this is what happened. She died. It's interesting because the instructions don't say that you have to take off all the soil. So a little different from transferring from soil to LECA. Actually, am I gonna risk it with this one? Maybe I won't take off a lot of the soil, and maybe I'll just put Pon. I don't think I'm gonna wash off the aerate mix. I'm so curious. I think I might just put it as is, like this, because I've never done that before. It might just die. What I'm telling myself now is the key is just to blast it with light. Why don't we just grab what I had before? Oh man, this is kind of scary. Okay, blast it with light, Kev. Blast it with light. Oh my god. Will this even fit, please? I'm gonna try to push it in like that. I don't know what y'all can see. Let me rotate her. The reason why I decided not to propagate her again, even though there's a couple nodes, is because I usually prefer submerging more than one root system, a root system and an aerial root, into the new substrate, whether that's pot or LECA, because it kind of just ensures the plant surviving. If one root system rots completely, you do have another one, hopefully, as opposed to if it's just one root system. And I think that is also a very important thing when it comes to the Thai constellation. The pond that I had was really wet. It's not always wet out of the bag, but for some reason this one was like soaking wet. And you can see that there's some in the saucer. And feeling the pond myself, it is wet enough for the transfer. I chose this planter just so I can see new root growth. And so yeah. Here's the first one. Please survive. Grow light, grow light, grow light. Okay. New bag of pond. I don't know if y'all can see. New bag of pond. I'm really worried about the one that I just transferred. If I was transferring any plant into LECA, wash the roots thoroughly. Make sure the majority of the soil or arid mix is off. But I want to see, because I'm pretty sure pond's instructions say you don't need to take off the soil completely. I want to move on to this one. This one is the only Thai constellation that hasn't done a thing. The roots are there. I don't know. It's a little confusing. So I'm gonna take a look. I suspect there is some dead roots. So again, kind of just pushing, pulling and pushing. Oh, this one's easier. That kind of tells me the roots aren't great. How are we? How are you, my little root ball? How's the root ball? The roots look fine. Touching them, they feel fine. How come you have not grown? Yeah, it feels okay. Ooh, do you know what? This mix is less chunky. There was a time where I had this in my older arid mix. I'm wondering if I just didn't add enough chunky components, because this is far less chunky than the other one. And again, you could see, I don't know if you can see, but you could see the chunk just kind of floating to the top. It's so dense down here. And there is perlite, but like honestly, like you need like a ton more perlite. Yeah, it's like, it's too dense in my opinion. Maybe that's why it hasn't grown. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna head to the sink and I'll bring y'all with me. I'm kind of concerned. There are really like hydrated main root systems, but the branching just feels so awful. I did pull off, these were completely dry. When you could see that thread-like inner root, that's when you're in trouble, but okay. Oh, whoa, everyone. That took a while. Honestly, guys, when I say take as much soil off the roots, I mean it. I know you can see some staining. That's totally normal. But this is kind of where I'm okay with the roots. Really take your time. Really take your time. I mean it. I sound like a parent. Oh my God. I think this is the part where, I mean, along with not giving it enough light, but I think this is the part where people usually like don't take their time. By doing this, you really can feel which roots are good, and you can see that there are a ton. Specifically looking at ends of new root growth that are hydrated and close to cream or white in color. You can see this one over here. This is one of the new main roots from one of the top nodes. If there were any roots that didn't feel how these felt, super firm, if they were brown and squishy, then I would just rip them off. So this is amazing. I love this. This is fantastic. I am going to use LECA that is straight out of the bag. I'm not rinsing, I'm not soaking. Okay, I'm leaving it like this. There are some roots over there. I'm just running water over it just because it was completely dry LECA. Just a little bit. I'm gonna keep a little bit of a reservoir. I haven't done this kind of setup in a while. This is kind of what I started doing when I first started transitioning plants into LECA, where I had a dog bowl or saucer that was holding a little bit of water, and then just having a regular planter. So I'm gonna see how this does. Look at this beauty. She is just beautiful. Does it need nutrient solution now? Probably not. I never really do it like the first couple weeks. I kind of wait to see new root growth, and then I decide to give it some nutrients. So I'm gonna bring her carefully to the room. I'm probably gonna speed up the last soil one because I think I'm keeping one in soil. Yeah. Okay, the third one did push out a few leaves. You can see that this is the newest. Look at the roots, just kind of peeking through. So she definitely needs to be repotted. It's funny because the root system, it doesn't look as big as the other ones. Maybe because the main roots just kind of crawled out of the substrate. It didn't have an opportunity to root. So we're just gonna see what's happening. Okay, so roots look good. Again, this is the state where I like it, and you know, you can see there are multiple main roots from different nodes. So I know the root system looks great. Let's hope it stays alive. Usually and this is another tip, usually if there's another aerial root that's like not rooted in the substrate, no matter how small it is, I submerge that under the substrate, whether it's LECA or pond. That ensures, again, if this root system dies because it's not used to the new substrate, you have a new root there that can grow into the new substrate, be used to it, and that can ultimately save your plant. I have seen that happen before with my plants and my transition. So, do I want to do LECA or pond? This is a toughie. I forgot that I have a couple more that are in moss. I'll put those ones in pond maybe. These ones, let's stick with LECA. So you can see some of the roots there. Huge air pockets, which, you know, you want. And just making sure the LECA is wet throughout. Filling up the saucer, a little bit of water, just so there's a little bit of a reservoir so the LECA doesn't dry out completely. Alrighty, now oh my god, everything's falling. Okay, now we have the two that are in moss. So here's one. It is time, y'all. I didn't change the camera view. Wow, okay, but look at the roots. There's some healthy ends there. I'm putting this in pond. Okay, let me do the other one. This one. This one was the one that was in my These Plants Are Dead video, and it was not doing great. She's hydrated, she's pushed out new roots. Ooh, look at that one. And then, yeah, there's some roots coming out. So, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, that last one tested me. The roots were just so, this long one here, thank God. I'm so happy I was able to save it. But this is what happens, this is my bad, this is my fault. This is what happens when you leave them for too long. Okay, so we have this one right over here. How cute. In pond, little tiny bit of a reservoir at the bottom. And then the one that made me so mad, this one. Okay guys, I guess that's it. This took longer than I thought. put it against a grow light. We're going into fall, and so I always tell people, if it's a valuable plant, do not rely on your windows no matter how good they are. I know I mentioned in the beginning, that's how I did it with my original Thai Constellation, but you really need consistent light. That's hours of light, and that's like intensity. I usually like bright indirect light, which is to me 1,000 to 3,000 foot candles, just to initiate that new root growth. Once you see that new root growth, then you can move it away. Assess, 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 often every 2 days, feeling the petioles, feeling the leaves. Feel them now, so you're familiar with how they feel. The moment they feel dehydrated, that's when you should kind of look at other things like what's causing it. With the ones in LECA nutrient solution in 2 weeks, just plain water for the ones in Pond and LECA right now. And yeah, again, I have a Patreon, so I want to thank everyone in my Strawberry Shake tier and my LECA Drop tier, but a very special thanks to those in my Lobster Claw tier, my Burley Marks Flames, Ryan Jones, Marnie McCallum, Gerda, Janice Supton, Francesco, Margot T, Remy Papila, Lisa Mata, Shayna Nelson, Crystal, Casey Groves, Daniel Wilcox, Sam Pennypacker, Lane B, Carlos Holling, Gina Alexandra, Storm McCroy, Rocio Ramos, Kendra Prum, Stephanie McGinnis, Soda Rocks, Alicia D, Courtney Evans, Simone, Kiki in the Garden, Artie, Taylor Janik, North Lou, Benjamin Fraley, and Sammy Vertanen. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the very end, thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!